Hello everyone. You're watching a catch-up video and it's going to be the last one for the foreseeable future. That is not to say that I'm dropping captioning, but let's address things in order. Firstly, I want to once again thank our ultimortal benefactor for devoting a sizable chunk of time to fine-combing through the latest publication and weeding out a number of blemishes. I know that it is a dull affair, especially on longer videos, and greatly appreciate your unwavering persistence with that task. Nextly, I guess I should point out straight away that the next review is also on the longer side, so it will be a split publication. Actually, I'm expecting this catch-up to take a while, so both tracks may very well be out by now. If not, then they're at least almost ready. Alright, with that out of the way, it's time to clarify my decision of dropping the catch-ups, even though not that long ago I was adamant about sticking with them. Well, first of all, as many of you may have learned by now, I can't be trusted. On top of that, I can no longer pretend that making these videos after every set of tracks is not wasteful at this point. See, back in the day, when these videos were all ahead in terms of exposure, they served a clear purpose. Now, however, they're outclassed in most meaningful areas by community posts and streams. Written updates are way timelier and only take a minute to make, while streams provide a much more direct way of connecting with the people, and once again, don't require nearly as much effort on my part. Sure, there was a bit of a road to the first stream, but now, when most of the setup is already in place, it's just me playing a game on Saturday evening, which, as you may suspect, I would be doing anyway. Compared to that, rewiring my brain and relearning all the steps necessary for making a video update once every few weeks is a dreadful prospect. As monotonous as caption making is, it at least allows me to settle into a groove, where I divide familiar tasks into feasible chunks and then just knock them off one by one, until even the longest project is in the bag. On the other hand, producing even a 2-minute video requires a whole host of disparate tasks that preclude me from building any sort of momentum. Not that any individual step is difficult, but the process overall is so disjointed and unoptimized that it supercharges my fear of blank page, which leads to hesitation, procrastination, hypersleep, humiliation, and harsh language. The problem is further exacerbated by Monkey and his medical condition. It is not my place to divulge the details, but the gist is that our boy is terminally allergic to under-delivering. Therefore, he always tries to play it safe and go an extra mile. As a result, what was supposed to be a quick and dirty update, slapped together on a knee out of easily available assets, sometimes becomes ridiculously overcomplicated for its purpose. It does feel nice to see someone invest themselves into what you're doing, and the result is neat to look at, no argument there, but the time and effort creep is growing ever stronger. For one example, have you seen my pre-stream screen? There are all these little details and animations, seamless cycling, a soft color palette. You can tell a lot of effort went into making sure that these initial few minutes, while people are still gathering up, don't strain your eyes and are not too boring to sit through. Funny thing here is that I only asked if he could draw a single JPEG with rules. To be perfectly clear, I do appreciate the initiative, and this is an admirable attitude to have towards one's craft, just not for the scale of production we have here. Hopefully, with this asset treadmill going away, we'll have other creative avenues to pursue in earnest. Another compounding factor is the increase in the duration of Mendy's videos. I've already mentioned it before, but his output used to include more short-form reviews in the 15 to 25 minute range. But now the 30 to 40 minute ones have become way more prominent. If I plan to ever catch up to him, I need to seriously optimize my own routines. I tried different things over the years, making the update immediately after the tracks to carry the momentum, giving myself a short break, trying to work on tracks and updates simultaneously. And while it was good enough to avoid burnout all this time, my efficiency has never returned to the level of my first year, when there was no channel to worry about. I would just finish a set, take a day off, and then jump right onto the next one. Without having to plan for videos, I can return to pretty much the same routine. Finish the thing, report on the thing, job done. And by now you may be asking, okay, you're retiring an obsolete feature. Why all this waffle?
Because it is my good pleasure, you rotten little cabbage.
Well, I guess before anyone else, I want to convince myself that it is the right thing to do. There are a couple of things unique to this format, and without examining the evidence, my overall sentiment is, I don't want to do it anymore because it takes effort, and I'd like to think I'm not that shallow. The first thing we'd be losing are the after credit shitposts. A tragedy, yes, but all good things come to an end. The other one is a supporter acknowledgement, and this one is tricky. On one hand, I really don't want to cut something like this out, but on the other, it was always threatening to become unwieldy at some point. If editing videos was my main thing, it would only be one part of the process. But since it's something that is happening on the side, keeping track of names coming from different sources is a nightmare in the making. And that's even with the few we have right now. If I am to be optimistic and assume that this number will keep growing, one day it would just become unfeasible to maintain. Again, there could be ways to simplify this, but I only learned the basics of editing and I keep forgetting even those. So, I'll keep the acknowledgements to a more general sweep and mention in written updates. That's the best I can think of. But trust me, I'm not taking this support for granted. And it also goes to the days of Patreon. Having those early pledges helped me believe that there was still future for what I'm doing when my main avenue of income got cut off. The final reason for my decision is more selfish. A couple years ago, I started a writing project to improve my use of English. And back then, I was planning to be done with it in a few months, maybe a year. But with everything that started happening, my mental bandwidth got clogged with other concerns, and at this time, I'm barely approaching the middle point of what was planned. Again, I could be devoting a lot more time to it that I end up wasting on apprehension when there are many ill-defined tasks hanging over my head. I'm upset about it because I have a history of starting or at least outlining a story, and then giving up on it once fear of criticism sets in. This time, I sort of made a promise to myself not to be fickle and see the story through. Even kept this little fella as a reminder of my goals. Can't leave him hanging now. So, that's it. There may be more videos on specific topics later on, like if YouTube has another go at their subtitle editor or something, but most activity is migrating to community spaces and Twitch. One last time, thank you, everyone who finds a way, or time, or energy to support my endeavors in some fashion. I hope I'll keep seeing familiar names in the comments or in the stream chat. From now on, the streams will be happening more frequently and with more variety to them. I can't promise a stream a week just yet, but if you have free time on Saturdays, take a peek at my channel at around 11 AM EST, and there might be something going. Have a lovely time of day, and I'll see you again when more work is done. Bye bye.
Come on. Trotting the globe, taking on dangerous game. Don't you think that's all about Dad?